My name is Eric Kroc. I'm Director of Product Marketing at Vistara, and the topic of today's webinar is IT Visionaries, Build Your Managed Services Business with Vistara. Joining us today to talk about her experience is Teresa McMillan, who is Director of Consulting at DataCorp. DataCorp is a managed service provider that uses Vistara to support their customers, and I'm going to let Teresa introduce more about your business. So, Teresa, thank you for joining us today, and why don't you start off by telling me a little bit more about DataCorp and your business, your customers' needs, and how you address them.
My name is Teresa McMillan. I am the Director of Consulting for DataCorp. DataCorp has been in the South Florida marketplace for a little over 13 years as an advanced infrastructure project-based consulting firm with some managed services clients. Over the years of us being in business with the vision and guidance of our DataCorp leadership, we've evolved into a thriving MSP, CSP company augmented by our advanced infrastructure projects. Our customers, they come from a very wide variety of verticals, from healthcare to commodity brokers, banks, high-end construction companies, insurance companies. They're all very unique and have very different needs. The one thing that they all have in common is that they depend on DataCorp to manage and support them at the highest level possible. It became very clear to me very fast that DataCorp needed management tools to bring that level of support to our customers that they required. Unfortunately, in the very beginning, we bought into the wrong set of tools early on, and it took us way too long to configure, or they were way too complex. We never really did get the reporting or management necessary to be as proactive as we needed to be in our space. It was very inefficient to use the multiple tools to manage and monitor the environment. So that's why we went and we looked for better tools on the marketplace.
So why don't you tell me a little bit about the requirements you identified for a new solution as you were evaluating the tools in the marketplace?
Well, you know, as an MSP, CSP provider, one of the things that we did not do well, and that was to be proactive. So when I went out looking for, you know, a better management tool for our customers, it had to be a single pane of glass. It had to be one place. So as I started looking at the different tools that are out there, I had identified 6 requirements. Those requirements were the tool had to be easy, it had to be easy to configure, it had to be easy to utilize in our environment, it had to have very robust alerting tools with email integration, it had to have patch management capabilities. As an MSP CSP, we do a lot of pre-sales, and it had to have the ability to do discovery as well as validation of the environment that we were selling to. It also had to have an automated runbook. Runbooks are very important in our business because they contain the customer documentation, logins, credentials, IP addresses, and a variety of information in order to support. Having that manually was very inefficient, so I wanted to make sure that the tool that we selected had an automated runbook feature. It also had to have a very robust reporting.
Great.
I found all of these in Vistara. I found bits and pieces in others, but again, I wanted to get away from the multiple tools and only have one tool to be able to manage my environment.
Excellent. All right, so why don't you put this in context and tell me a bit about the role you play as a managed service provider, enabling your customers to be successful in their own businesses.
Well, Eric, as you know, my customers aren't in the IT business. They, like I said, they have a very wide variety of verticals, and IT is not one of them. In fact, most of them have little more technical experience than to walk in the office door, turn on their computer, and click an icon. They expect their computer to turn on and their applications to work every day, every time, 24/7. Not just, every once in a while. This is their business. They need to make sure that their systems run. They had no idea what's running in the background to make this work, but DataCorp does. So the fact that we can now see their systems through Vistara, we can quickly see any of the alerts that may cause a failure and fix them before it becomes a critical event. And I believe that that is probably one of the most important things when you are a managed service provider, is to be proactive enough to allow the customer to continue their business and not think about IT.
Excellent. Yeah, so why don't you tell us a bit about your beliefs about an IT environment should be run and managed? You know, what's your view of modern IT operations management, and how does Vistara fit into that?
Well, managing an environment is a never-ending cycle of responding to customers, checking systems, taking care of issues, fighting off the attacks, keeping watch over the IT domain. That's what our customers pay us to do. Not having the right tools to do this, it becomes a very arduous task, even for the most experienced IT professionals. It takes more than just highly skilled engineers. It takes the right tools. Using multiple management tools help mitigate the time and effort, but it doesn't give me the crystal ball, so to speak, or the single pane of glass is what Vistara calls it. So having this allows me to be more proactive, more than just looking in, but being able to be alerted every hour, every day of possible failures, of possible system events that I can mitigate right now on the spot before it becomes a down event. This is what DataCorp's customers require. They want us to be their IT department.
Excellent. What was life like at DataCorp for you and your team before you adopted Vistara?
Oh my gosh, it was difficult. We were more reactive than proactive. We were spending more time dealing with level 1, level 2 support issues and not being able to actually see the root cause of some of these issues. We spent more time dealing with the down events instead of dealing in the maintenance that would prevent these down events from happening. And the tools that we had at that time, they just weren't sufficient. They just didn't give us the full picture. They just didn't give us the full solution. So we had unhappy customers. I mean, they were satisfied, but we could take it to the next level. We could prevent things from happening before they happen. And that's what our customers want us to do. They're, again, not in the business of IT. They don't want to think about it. They don't want to deal with it. They just want to come in, turn on their computer, click an icon so that they can get done their work, be more productive, and do what they're supposed to do and not worry about the world of IT.
Great. And so you alluded earlier to the requirements you identified for a new solution. Without mentioning any names, what made you choose Vistara over some of the other solutions in the marketplace that you checked out during your evaluation process?
Well, as I was looking at some of the other tools, I have to go back to the fact that I needed something easy to configure. I didn't want to have something that it was an all or nothing solution to my customers. My customers, they have very unique and special needs. Some of our customers we manage fully, soup to nuts. Some of them we only have pieces of the environment. So I couldn't have a tool that would go out there, discover everything, and attach itself to everything in the network. That just wouldn't work for me. I needed a tool that was going to be very flexible, that was going to allow me to manage only the pieces that I needed to manage. I needed a tool that was going to give me the alerts that I needed. Some of our customers have, over 100 virtual machines. To go in there and do maintenance to 100 virtual machines is nearly impossible to do. But with Vistara's alerting system, I can go in there and attach thresholds to certain things like, disks or storage. And Vistara will alert me when these things are beginning to fail. So, having the Vistara tool in our environment, it's easy to configure, it's easy to train on, it's easy to demo. And it's made our life as an MSP CSP so much better because we can manage our customers more efficiently and our customers are happier.
Great. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so in the end, how much training did your staff need to become productive with the new tool?
Oh, that was the easy part. Really, once you understand the gateway piece, that you have to register a gateway and then push the agents, the actual application is pretty self-explanatory. The dashboards that are on the top, if you click on the infrastructure dashboard or the alerting dashboard or the maintenance dashboard, if you're technical even a little bit, you can go through and you can see the information that these dashboards provide you. And then you can build off of that and go into more advanced things like setting up scripts or looking at the different devices and adding different thresholds of alerts. It's very easy to use. We were able to onboard all of our customers within probably 45 days. So the training was very minimal, very, very minimal.
Excellent. Okay. So, now that you've got this rolled out to your customer base, what's been the effect on your team's productivity?
Well, we have seen an exponential reduction in tickets. Our customers are very happy with the fact that we're able to contact them before situations happen. An example would be is we had a customer that reached their threshold of storage. They happen to be a customer that is very tight in compliance because they deal with the FCC. Running out of storage and going down would have been a disaster for this client. So by having Vistara in their environment, having this threshold set, we were able to notify them that their storage was running low, and they are actually in the cloud, so it was very easy for us to reach out and get them more storage and be able to configure their environment so they would have room for growth. If we didn't have Vistara, this client probably would have gone down. This client would have been fined by the FCC, and we would have probably not had a customer.
Wow. Okay, so as a result, what's been the effect on your customer satisfaction statistics?
I am seeing better customer surveys. We survey our customers. Every week we choose a variety of different tickets, and I've instructed my assistant to survey our customers. Since we have deployed Vistara, our customer sat rating has gone up exponentially. We now have people that are, oh, yeah, I remember you. I haven't put in a ticket in the help desk for a while because everything is running well. That's what I like to hear. Again, that's a double-edged sword. You want your customers to know that you're there, you're working, but you don't want them to experience non-productive time. You do have an SLA that you have to meet, and when we not only meet but exceed our SLAs at this point, due to the Vistara application, our customers are very happy.
Great. You mentioned you were able to achieve a dramatic reduction in the number of tickets you were dealing with. Tell me about the factors that went into achieving that reduction in tickets to address.
Well, the factors, one of the biggest things that Vistara provides us on a day-to-day basis is they have a few features, a few unexpected features, which is managing your antivirus and your backups. Now, I did require that the tool that we used was able to do patch management because 90% of our customers are Windows-based, and we need to make sure that the patches go out in a timely manner, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But having the ability to do the patch management combined with antivirus management, combined with backup management, this has allowed us to do the maintenance, proper maintenance on our customers' environment that keeps them running. If we aren't able to do the antivirus, we can see that the antivirus is run, and they've got the current and the latest and greatest. We can see that the backups have run, and we're confident in the fact that if we do experience a down event that's unexpected, we have the ability to recover. These are all things that the customer relies on us for, and this is the reason that we have Vistara, because we can now be proactive in all of these areas quicker, more efficiently, and we're able to reduce the tickets by just doing the maintenance on a customer's environment.
Yeah, actually that brings up a good topic, which is kind of the difference philosophically and organizationally between a reactive approach to IT versus a proactive approach to IT. Can you kind of tell me about the default in the industry and then your thoughts on how to make life better?
Well, over the years, what we have done here is we have attempted to be proactive by going into each server manually, looking through the logs, checking the health one by one, and it's very, very time consuming. And when you run a very busy help desk, having the time to do this, it gets pushed off and it gets pushed off, and this is a problem with most MSPs that I've talked to in the past, is that when you do maintenance on a customer's environment manually, it takes a very long time and it seems to just not ever get done, and it just doesn't ever seem to all be done at the same time. So in my opinion, that's being reactive. You don't have the time to do the proper maintenance. You don't have the time to make sure that the backups have run. You don't have the time to make sure that the antivirus and the patch management is up to date. And then they have a down event, and then you're fighting fires. So that is a reactive. With Vistara and the alerting system and having a single pane of glass in each one of our customers, I can look to see if there's a patch that needs to be applied that hasn't been, or the antivirus isn't up to date, that there may be an issue. I can take a look at that and see that before it becomes an issue. That's being proactive. If I can manage a customer's environment proactively and make sure that all of the things that should be running are running, that reduces the amount of tickets to my help desk. Now, I still have the level 1 tickets of passwords and printers and the other type of stuff that we're just never going to get away from. But as far as having computers go down because they have a virus on them, or a server go down because it's not been backed up properly and the logs haven't cleared, I would probably say a good 80% of that has gone away with us just adding Vistara to our environment.
Excellent. Yeah, and kind of providing more context, a lot of people feel that the IT industry is in a transition from being a technology integrator to more of a service provider-oriented approach. Why don't you tell me your thoughts about that transition and how tools like Vistara and service providers like DataCorp fit into that?
Well, being an integrator has always been, one of the bread and butter pieces of companies like mine. But as the economy has gone down and people can no longer afford to have the technical skills in-house that they used to have, companies are now looking for MSP, CSPs that they can leverage in order to get that type of skill. So with DataCorp, we have all certified engineers, level 1, level 2, level 3. Our core technology falls into the Microsoft, Citrix, VMware, Cisco space. So all of our managed services clients has access to these type of engineers with the same fixed monthly fee. So when our customers are looking to downsize, they still have the IT needs that they had before. They just have to leverage their dollars in a different way, and that is how MSPs are really thriving today. Now with the advent of cloud services, MSPs are now able to help our customers understand and go to the cloud, but there's still a mix between people that want to have their services on site and their services in the cloud. And I think that the MSPs, CSPs of today have that technical expertise to not only manage and monitor, but act as a technical liaison in order to help the customers grow in their IT needs.
Great. Another big change that's going on, as we all know, is the advent of cloud-based services. So how is that changing IT, and what services are you offering customers in this area and planning to offer going forward?
Well, the cloud is the next big move in the IT industry. It only makes business sense. If you have the option of spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on infrastructure equipment and buying that equipment with the hopes that your company is going to grow 10% or 20% in the next 5 years, knowing that at that point your equipment investment is going to be end of life, or going to the cloud and being able to purchase services, infrastructure applications, at a fixed monthly price only for what you need now, and then grow your company and then pay for your growth later, it just makes more business sense. If you're a customer that doesn't have advanced complicated applications, this saves your small and medium companies thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars in infrastructure equipment. What we do with our customers, we leverage Vistara to size the environment to see if they are ready to go to the cloud. Some of our clients are all in, some of them want to be, half in, half out. So when we go and we use Vistara to audit their inventory, take a look at what they have, the auditing feature that Vistara has will let me know what type, what model, what serial number, what's running on it, how old it is. I'll be able to leverage that information with the customer to make the right decision for the customer when it comes to moving to the cloud. If they choose to move to the cloud, I can still manage their environment, and I can still use Vistara to manage them there.
Yeah, and that actually brings up a good topic, which is a lot of customers and companies out there are in the situation of evaluating their move to the cloud and the speed with which they move and which services they should move. And so why don't you drill down a little bit more about the considerations that go into planning a move to cloud-based infrastructure. Tell me more about what customers want to know as they're considering that and how you help them in that evaluation process.
Okay, well, one of the first things that you need to know in a customer environment is their size. So we run the inventory discovery tool, and the discovery tool will give us every IP that's being used in their environment. And what that tells us is that tells us how much they're utilizing any one particular server. Now, you have to take in consideration most of the companies out there today have already entered the world of virtualization by using VMware and utilizing virtual technology in expanding their server base. So Vistara actually allows us to look at both the physical and the virtual world and be able to drill down on how you are utilizing those servers. So 5 years ago, 6 years ago, people were taking one server, turning it into 4 servers. Now they're taking all of those servers and moving it to a cloud and not having physical servers at all. But they don't really understand that the cloud is a ad hoc kind of purchase. So if you need 4 servers, you can buy 4 servers worth of space. You need to know RAM, you need to know storage, you need to know how they're being utilized. Again, our customers aren't in the IT space, so they have no idea how they're actually being utilized. So with Vistara, we can go in, we can run the tools, we can show them exactly how much of space they're going to need, how much bandwidth they're going to need, how much RAM they're going to need, what kind of applications they're using, what is the utilization on those, how many endpoints they have, how many users that they have, and this helps them to decide, Do I spend $50,000 on equipment? Do I spend $20,000 on equipment and $5,000 in the cloud? So together, as a partner of theirs, as their IT department and their IT partner, we can sit down with this information out of Vistara and be able to make an educated decision on what their next move is. Now, with Vistara, we're able, with just one tool, be able to gather all of this information very quickly, and it's accurate. And we're able to show the customer right then and there, once the tool has run, what their environment looks like. It's a wonderful tool for this, especially when we're doing the pre-sales, because we can show the customer exactly what they have in their environment. And they're very surprised. They're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I had all of that. Yeah, you do, and it's just a couple of clicks with Vistara, and it all comes into view.
Great. Well, it sounds like the migration to the cloud is really a very natural opportunity for a managed service provider, a cloud service provider such as yourself, to fit in with a customer's IT organization, because even an IT organization that has been managing its own infrastructure significantly and may not have used MSP or CSP to date may not have the specialized skills associated with that migration process or managing cloud-based infrastructure thereafter. So it really does sound like a natural win-win.
Most definitely. Vistara has so many features and it has so many tools in it that even if a client didn't have an MSP or a CSP, they could run it to do asset management. Asset management is becoming a big thing with people that want to stay on-prem. And they don't have the tools, or the tools are too expensive. So running a monthly asset management through Vistara is just as easy as a couple of clicks, especially once you've registered the gateway. We do that for a lot of our customers here, and it's something that our customers have asked us to do more often now that they know that we have the capabilities to do asset management. We have several customers that want to look at, they have temporary or seasonal help. So from month to month, their assets change. So we give them a report month to month on their assets now, and they couldn't be more happier because now they have control. They know what's there. They are able to better quantify it to their accounting department or their executive management. They're able to see it on a piece of paper without having, well, maybe I had these people, maybe I didn't. It's solidified. It's proof of what they have in their environment. And again, it's because Vistara has very, very powerful discovery tools.
Yeah, it sounds like that can really help take some of the pain and expense out of compliance, enabling compliance organizations to sleep more soundly at night. Okay, yeah, and actually while we're on this, why don't we drill down a little bit on some of the features you found most useful and have mentioned to me that have been most beneficial and the benefits they provide to you and your customers. Why don't you talk about the patch management capability of Vistara and how that helps you and your customers?
Well, that's one of the things that, I talk to my customers most about. Vistara has a patch management tool that you can set up and you can schedule your patches. Now, a lot of people go, now, wait a minute here. I have patched my servers and they go down and I don't have the time to test every patch that comes out. We don't have to. Vistara actually has what they call a white list, where you guys actually go into the workstation patches, the server patches, application patches, and you actually test it in your environment first. Now, again, if our customers have proprietary software or older software, then we're a little bit more cautious. But for our customers that are up to date with the latest applications, the latest OS, the latest server technology, it's very easy for us to go in, take a look at the patches, and approve what Vistara has already whitelisted. We have been using this feature for several months now, and we have yet to see any issues or any problems that arise from the white list. This again saves me time, saves me money, and it helps my customers get patched quicker and more efficiently. For those customers that have special needs, we have found that we are able to drill down in the whitelist and be able to pull out the ones that we feel like the .NET ones or the ActiveX ones that we know will affect the production, and go ahead and release the rest. So the patch management feature it's pretty amazing when you go towards management and maintenance, because Vistara does it all for you. Those that aren't approved, they're very few and far between, and those, you can do yourself if you even want to. Most of them are not even the critical or security patches. So, we have our own lab here, and, we do a little bit of testing on those one-off patches, but for the most part, we rely on Vistara to test their patches, and they do a really good job.
Thank you. Yeah. We got a question that came in here from the audience. One of the questions is, you mentioned that you write scripts. Can you tell us a bit about the reasons you've written scripts and what purposes you've put them to?
Well, let me tell you, I don't write scripts, and DataCorp has not written a script. Vistara has over 800 preloaded scripts available in the software. And what the scripts that we use are, we have a couple of customers that require you to shut down your computer at the end of each day. They have some problems with some of their employees doing that, so that we can run the patch management or whatever the case may be. So there's scripts in there that we put in the environment that if after 5:30, if they don't shut down, then the script automatically shuts them down. We have barely touched the surface on what Vistara allows in scripts. You can do login scripts. You can do shutdown scripts. You can do install scripts. You can push MSI files. There are hundreds of scripts in Vistara that's already there, that all you have to do is just put them in your portal and run them, and off you go. It's fabulous.
Thank you. Yeah, and so another question, why don't you drill down a bit more about infrastructure monitoring and what needs you and your customers have in this area, and how Vistara addresses those and the benefits you receive?
Okay, well, as you know, the dashboards in Vistara, one of them is called infrastructure, and basically what that does is I can see my entire customer base in one single pane of glass as a whole, or I can go to the infrastructure dashboard and drill down to each one of my customers. And it looks like, like a Windows navigation pane. On the left-hand side, it's got desktop servers and all your network gear. And you can go into that section and you can drill down into, that's where we do a lot of our work. We drill down into those workstations or servers or networking equipment. From there, you can find out everything about the hardware that is got an agent pushed to it. Vistara has been, very integral in allowing us to see these areas at a glance. So if I have a workstation that's not really particularly acting well, I can go in, find that workstation through Vistara. I can check its health. I can check to see if it's got hard drive issues. I can check to see if it's got any alerts. I can check to see if it's got any application conflicts. And then, after all of that, if I still can't find it, then I can log into the workstation right through Vistara, and I can see what's going on, with the error code or whatever. I no longer have to use a multitude of different login type protocols, RDP, SSH. Some of our customers even had us logging in through the Log Me In application. This is very safe. It's very secure. I can log in straight from Vistara. I can troubleshoot. I can take a look at the health and wealth of the device or the workstation right from there. I can even turn on my favorite feature, which is the audit recordings. So I can have a recording of the troubleshooting event or the system change, and I can keep it in my archives, not only for my customer records, but for training purposes. The dashboards that you have in Vistara are meant to enable you to do your job quicker, faster, and more efficient. And for DataCorp, and the fact that this is exactly what we need, it fits our needs to a glove.
Excellent. And so, yeah, you mentioned that the administrative session recording feature is one of your favorite features. So why is that? Why don't you drill down a bit on that?
Well, it's fun. It's fun to watch. There's certain one of our clients, like, you know, every MSP, you have a client that has very strict compliance rules. And with our change management process, to augment that, we do record a lot of our changes to the system so that we have a record of it. I have yet to find any tool that is out there that I have been able to demo or see that just with the click of a button you start recording. It records just like a video. So you've got interminable record of what you've done. Not only is it compliance, it's legal. The customer knows exactly what's going on, and we get to use it for training. Which when we hire our level 1, level 2 engineers, and they come into a situation, we can go back to our library and see something similar and be able to use it as a how-to.
Excellent, excellent. So training, not just compliance. Okay, why don't you talk a bit more about alert management and the alert browser and how that is helpful?
Okay, well, once we deployed Vistara, let me tell you, we got a lot of alerts. Some of the customers that we put the agents out to, now I have common thresholds that I've set up, things like disk space, memory usage, storage, connections. We have a pretty long list of thresholds that we set up on each of our clients. When we pushed Vistara for the first time to our clients, man, that agent dashboard just filled up. But it was very good because we were able to see things that we hadn't been able to see before. This is actually where my engineers start their day, is they log into Vistara and they have particular clients that they use or they support, and they log into the alerts. One of the very first things that they do to see how their systems are faring today. It's a health check. So they see additional alerts. They go through and they look at them. Some are, there's a connection that's bouncing because an ISP is down. So we kind of put that one on mute. And then we go to the more critical ones that we're starting to see a hard drive fail, or we're starting to see memory push. We do proactive things in the environment to lower the thresholds of these alerts. These alerts run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It's like having, a watch guard looking at the environment 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Even when I physically can't see the environment because it's a weekend or it's a holiday, Vistara is always watching. And the fact that the alerts have email integration, if it's a critical alert, my on-call help desk support engineer gets the email, and he's able to take care of the problem regardless if it's a Saturday, Sunday, 2 o'clock in the morning. He's able to take care of the critical issue, and by the time the company opens up the next day, the issue's fixed. Very powerful, very, very powerful tool.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about virtual machine management, the services you offer in that area to your customers, and how Vistara plays into that?
Well, like I said, Vistara is able to see both virtual as well as physical machines. So it treats the virtual world just like any other server. So I can see how much memory it's using, how much hard drive space, how much storage space. It gives me a health check. And that's what's unique, because my customers don't always have virtual machines. They do have physical machines. Some of them have nothing but physical machines. Some customers, I only take care of their network. Some customers, I do the entire environment. Vistara gives me the flexibility to use physical, virtual, workstations, entire environment. It lets me see the entire environment, or just the piece that I've been commissioned to take care of.
Yeah, and so one of the things that can be a challenge is keeping track of how virtual machines correspond to physical hardware and storage solutions and things like that. How does Vistara help with that?
Well, Vistara is, like I said, Vistara is kind of a watch guard. It watches the environment 24/7, and it keeps a tab on the health of the environment for you. It's a very powerful tool in the fact that it has a single pane of glass. It's got all of your dashboards. It's got your scripts preloaded for you. It has the ability to do the maintenance and management. It has a lot of things that most of the tools out there do not, which again makes, as a manager, as a director, when I go to my engineers and I ask them about certain clients, they're able to pull up the Vistara application, not just tell me, but prove to me that our clients are in a healthy state.
Yeah, and actually let's talk more about that, the difference between telling customers you're keeping them up to date versus showing them. And why don't you talk about the reports you provide your customers, and what they're interested in, and how Vistara helps you support that.
Okay. Well, we do use Vistara as a demo to some of our clients that we pre-sell to. When we're out there and we're selling DataCorp services, many times customers want to see how we do it. So we invite them into our office and we show them our help desk, and we introduce them to our engineers. A lot of MSPs, that's about as far as they go. With DataCorp, we're able to demo the Vistara application. And I use my internal network to do that, because we have workstation servers, we have virtual machines, physical machines, we have network devices. So by showing them the different dashboards, by showing them the different jobs that can be scheduled within Vistara, by showing them some of the scripts, this tilts, if they're on the fence, this tilts their decision into our favor, because they can see it's proven, it shows. The customers that have demoed the Vistara application, they have been very wowed by it. It is a very, very powerful tool that not only the MSP, CSP, but we've actually had some of our customers say, look, I would really like to have this application in my environment. So it's even given us an opportunity to sell some of our Vistara abilities to our customers that aren't necessarily managed service customers, but are advanced infrastructure project customers. It's been a big hit with my customers, let me tell you.
Excellent. You mentioned, we got a question that came in here. So you mentioned that when you deployed the monitoring agents, that you started off with getting a whole lot of alerts coming in, and that you then tuned it to reduce that. So what went into that tuning process? To what extent were you identifying real issues and reducing the alerts by resolving them, versus to what extent was it setting alerting thresholds appropriately to change the noise to signal ratio?
Well, I'm really big on trending. I want to see a pattern. If there's a pattern going on, then we need to take a look at it and see if it's one that we can accept or one that we have to tweak a little bit, or we have to kind of set thresholds differently. So as the alerts were coming in, I started noticing some of the same alerts with our other customers. We have one on, we used to push some of the Vistara to the phones. And we noticed that we were getting a lot of alerts on phones, and decided that maybe phones weren't really necessarily something that we need to have such a low threshold on, because, you know, voice over IP phones, they tend to flip-flop a lot. You may not notice it, but the connection goes down for a millisecond and then it comes back up. Well, when we first set up the alerts, we set them up to any down event. So all of a sudden we were being flooded by any down event. So we would have, you know, 200, 300, 400 down events on one customer, but as we drilled down into it, we realized that it was the phones. So we backed off that, and, you know, we set the threshold a little bit higher, and those alerts started to go away. But then we started to notice that there were some actual issues with the bandwidth and the connection and the internet. So these are things that we would have never known in some of our customer environments had we not had Vistara and these alerts. We have now been able to clear out all of the alerts. We've set the thresholds properly, and we're now able to manage and monitor the client's environment. So again, and I hate to be repetitive here, but we're able to see things much more clear now and correct them before they become a system failure than ever before.
Yeah, here's another question that came in. So besides voice devices, what are other common sources of noisy data or false positives?
Networks, switches, routers. You know, they are connected to the internet. I guess the internet is probably your biggest culprit here, but we've had to adjust some of our network equipment alerting. They tend to bounce. APs tend to kind of do jibber jabber. So those are things that, you know, over the last few months we've been able to trend and see, you know, up the alert threshold, lower it until we could get it just right. And that's the beauty about Vistara, is that you can make those adjustments on the fly. It's not something that you have to reconfigure or re-push another agent to. You can actually trend the alerts and be able to see what's noise and what's real.
Great. So what's it been like working with Vistara, the company?
Wow, it's been awesome. I have to tell you, we've had a lot of support from Vistara. In fact, we're still getting people from the onboarding support team reaching out to us. We do have, you know, a couple of new customers that are coming on board that I've submitted some orders for, and they're reaching out to me going, okay, are you ready to onboard them? And they're actually, you know, very good at assisting. I feel that we can onboard our own customers at this point, but they are part of our team now. So as I onboard my customers, I use Vistara's support to come in and help, just to make sure that everything is set up correctly according to our portal and our requirements. They're very responsive. I've had a blast learning everything that there is about Vistara. It's an amazing tool, and I would definitely recommend it to anybody who is looking for a tool like this.
All right. Well, listen, Teresa, thank you very much for your time. Are there any additional final thoughts you'd like to leave us with, or things you'd like to say before we close up here?
You know, when I was looking for a software package to help me with my managed services department, I never expected to get everything in one. And I'm very, very happy that Vistara found its way into our business, and I'm very, very happy that it's made my life so much better. Thank you for inventing such a great product.
All right. Well, thank you for making such good use of it. So everyone, if you want to learn more about DataCorp, you can find them online at data-corporation.com. They've got customers nationwide. And if you want to learn more about Vistara, visit vistarait.com. We'd be happy to provide you with a free demo of the product so you can check it out. Teresa, thank you very much for taking the time to share your experience and your insights on building a managed service provider and a cloud service provider business. It's really been a pleasure working with you.
Thank you very much. It's been my pleasure.